Hey, John Fisher.
Hello.
How many Fishers can we get? All right, I see some new faces. We're waiting for our speakers, so I'll have some fun and call people out. Have you been here before?
I've been here once before.
What's your name?
My name is Steve Einel.
Steve, nice to meet you. How did you hear about us?
My brother-in-law is Wilson Chu. He's a member of the store, and he introduced me.
Yep. Who was I talking? Oh, I did an office hours this morning, and that person found out about us through Wilson. He's a big advocate. Anna, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back.
Hello.
Are you still with SCORE?
Taking a break.
Taking a break? Good. I want to take a break from the lab.
I was kind of wondering what was going on.
Good.
So I stopped by.
Hopefully you'll find out. What do you do?
We do tech, but in the advertising space. So we do B2B marketing for software companies.
Cool. Well, you've never been here before, but why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Brian Kodrov. I'm a financial advisor with MetLife, and I know Chris from the embryonic state when we began here, and does a great job here.
Thank you. I outsourced a bit of all that, and then I realized I hate trying to talk with software people about insurance, so I ditched all that back.
You know, I was going to say, as far as the internet is concerned, it's great. As far as getting quotes or doing applications, well, when you got a problem, you really do need a real person to speak to, because I don't know what the 800 number is for the internet to get somebody.
And I can vouch Robert's a real person. Who else? Well, I met you. What's your name again?
I'm Lucille Stolberg,
And how did you hear about us?
through Technically Philly.
Interesting.
They had a little thing on one of their emails that referenced the last year.
Okay, that's cool. We do the video live stream, and then Mike does a separate video, and they've been picking up our videos in their blogs. Who else can I pick on? I see a suspect. You just came. What's your name?
I'm Rich Samal.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is your first time here?
Yes, it is.
And how'd you hear about us?
I met Doug at a Tech Philly event.
Oh, Doug Keller?
Yes.
Great. Doug's our intern. He's also interning at XPN, so he's probably in town Monday. And what's your background, or what do you do?
I'm the founder of MyZip, and MyZip is a location sharing and tagging site. It's currently in private beta.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe you want to do one of these.
I would love to.
Okay.
That'd be great.
There's Ben. He's the person to talk to. And you're new.
I'm Chris Vasquez.
Yep. Good to meet you. And how did you hear about us, and what do you do?
So I worked in a building in Philly that had a co-working space. And this guy Drew runs it. He's a really cool guy. But I live out in Havertown, and I was asking for his recommendations for other co-working spaces around the area, and recommended you guys.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah, and he's a rad guy, so I figured it's probably a good spot. So.
That's good. And you were chatting me up with Ben about your idea for video game analytics?
No, it's for video embed analytics.
Okay.
So if you're a publisher and you publish other people's videos on your site, you don't have access to a lot of the YouTube or Vimeo or Wistia analytics. So it's just pulling that for publishers.
That's interesting. I know the pain point. Like, so if you create a playlist on your YouTube channel of other stuff, you might get more traffic and more views than the publisher
Yeah, but you don't have
or the
access to
content creator.
Yeah.
But you don't have access to that data.
So I just got an update, and he said 5 to 10. So if you want, we can just do the standard intro, and by the time we're done, we should
Okay. I'm good at shenanigans because on Friday my 1-year-old decided to scream in the car Saturday night at 10, so we stopped and I walked around the car and the other 2 kids in my car were complaining. So then I just kind of did mine with the baby on my shoulder. I did the Michael Jackson, what's it called?
Moonwalk.
The moonwalk. I won't do that for you. But okay, so because Jesse gave me crib sheet, Jesse over there, I can be factual and not pretend I'm making the stuff off the top of my head. But I do want to point out John Fisher because he hasn't been here in a while, and he was our first industry guy to come and do a startup meetup. And he runs Brandywine Photonics, a spaceship kind of outfit.
Got some news.
Tell it to us.
We went out with NASA Ames, and we are now on a proposal team with NASA Ames to make the next generation of next constellation of greenhouse gas measuring satellites. So we're on this big proposal team. It gets launched. Hopefully we win the proposal next year. So it's nice to be in global climate change measurement.
I thought you were going to say you were going to create a new constellation. I thought that was but that is pretty cool. John lives 2 blocks that way, and his office is in Exton. He's got a couple of physicists, and they make really cool stuff. And you were the 3rd startup meetup speaker. The first one was a lawyer. The second one was SCORE. And then you kind of ushered in industry people. So thank you. Anna?
I just want to say that I'm really impressed with how you're growing. I like your website, the way, yeah.
Me?
And I like the fact that you put the big screen up there, because now I can actually see.
Good.
But
Thanks for
everything
the
is
feedback.
cool.
Yeah, did anybody get the email about NextFab from yesterday?
Yes.
We're spamming you. I hope you feel free to unsubscribe.
Please don't say that.
Yeah, don't unsubscribe. So that's our mini makerspace, but it's a start, and there's kind of nothing like it out here, and like electronics into that. It's cool to have plastic, like animal figurines, but how far does that get you? We need electronics built into that. So we
And as
could-
soon as you have some time, I'm in the corner here and we'll get some cool projects in.
Yeah, well, I'm hitting the CCEDCF for some cash, so we need cash.
Maybe it would
Feed
be,
this machine.
maybe it would be viable to get Wilhelm and Chad on the rep rap. I don't know.
Well, you gotta say,
Spitball.
what is riprap? You can't just break out jargon.
Or rep rap, or rip rap. I'm not really sure, but I know that it's the next stage for us as a mini makerspace.
So we're trying to figure out what to do with these things. One thing that we can do with that is to have a workshop where you come in and you build a 3D printer and you walk out with a 3D printer. So you print a 3D printer. Not entirely, but you build the pieces and then we buy some electronics and then you assemble it and then you go home with a 3D printer. And it's probably in materials $100 and we charge $2,000. Like markup there. Now, it'll be cheap, it'll be community kind of driven, get people to have an experience with a 3D printer. So, chat's running it officially, starting right now. Last week we had Paul,
Kogan.
how do you pronounce it?
Kogan?
Kogan.
Yeah.
And he talked about back office thinking and his experience as an entrepreneur. That's cool. He's a half mile down Market Street. Next week we have Ted Mann, the founder of SnipSnap. He was a newspaper guy and worked at Gannett and left and created an app that scanned coupons and allowed you to share them. And who just bought them? eBay? No, not eBay. Someone just bought them.
The acquisition was a couple months ago. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they were recently acquired.
Yeah.
Speaking of recent acquisitions, Cold Light just announced that they were acquired today. Yeah. Yes, they were.
By whom?
By PTC.
Oh, they just acquired ThingWorks.
Okay.
So that's a really interesting, I don't know if you're following some of the local businesses. Cold Light Solutions raised about 10 million and about 60 people doing artificial intelligence, bordering on Internet of Things intelligence. ThingWorks is in Exton. They just sold for 120 million to PTC. And they are full-blown data platform for Internet of Things. So you take the two of those things together, and I don't know. It's like craziness, and it's right here. Cold Lights on Sweetsford Road in Wayne, and the Thing Works is in Exton. That's huge. We tried to sell one of our incubated companies to Cold Light. They said, no, if you can do these other things, yes, but we didn't want to do those other things. So, really interesting stories. What else? Indie Film Night, is that this week?
Yeah, it is this week. It's exciting. So it's prom season, so we're going back to prom with Leo Filmmaker has produced a short series called Homeschool Prom. So we're going to be going back to prom. He's going to be talking about that. Starts at runs 7 to 9 this Thursday. It's free. We've got pizza and beer, so come on out for that.
That's this week.
Yeah, this Thursday.
We have some event hangovers lately because of this Unisys thing that we've been doing. Last week we double booked. We had Unisys upstairs, and we had a reading from the university. A national author who lives in Philly. His name is Andrew Irvin. We had 50 to 80 people down here, and 50 to 80 people upstairs, and no one got hurt. No knife fights, and no underage drinking. You know, it was all cool.
How was your experience at the forum?
Philly Forum was it was one of the best. It was probably the best conference that I've been to. Run by PACT. And who else? A bunch of sponsors. Terry, do you know a little bit about?
It's PACT, basically.
PACT, basically. And actually, can someone tell me what PACT is? I kind of know Philadelphia Association of Capital.
Greater Philadelphia Alliance for Capital and Technology.
Jim, do you know a little bit more about it?
Formerly two other organizations.
There he is.
They were the Eastern Tech Council and also an advisory group, and they blended together several years ago, right before Robert Cord became state, whatever he was.
Okay. So Danny just got here. We'll give him a second. He probably just got out of a long trip. There were about 200, 300 people in attendance, and we had some really great meetings. And what did we do? For the incubator, we came out of there with a bunch of really strong leads, and it was the first time I got out of Westchester in like a year, so that was good. And we made it to the top 3 in the demo pit. We got some stage time with Salesforce. We lost out, but that's okay. And we had a great time last week at Tech 360, which is another conference that's closer to home in Great Valley, put on by ITAG, NI2N, ITAG, Jim.
ITAG is an IT partnership that's been around 15 years. There are no membership fees to join, but lots of benefits. See me afterwards.
Oh, why aren't we a member? Or are we? No, we're not. There's no fee. Ben, sign this up. We were a sponsor, and we took a ton of video. I don't know if you saw it.
I did see it.
But
I've already.
Great. We took, we have 5 more videos coming. We did interviews.
Sign people up. Sign yourself up.
Or you can email.
We extracted the interviews for everyone, so we have all the speakers, like a minute and a half.
It's 2:09.
It's what?
I read it yesterday. I saw it yesterday. It's 2 minutes, 9 seconds.
No, we have 5 more coming out.
Oh.
That are just specific interviews with people.
What was the attendance there?
The attendance was about 80 people.
Okay.
Local. I think that that was great. We ended up with our first client for one of our companies. Definitely next year we should let you know. There were about 10 speakers. Okay. Actually, Jeff, you're new. Have you been to a startup meetup before?
I've been here 2 of these.
Okay. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jeff Wilkinson, Keller Williams Real Estate, mostly residential real estate. We also do commercial. If you want a fabulous space, residential or commercial, we'll find it for you.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
But,
You've been here before and I forget your name, I'm sorry. Tell me it again. Wilford. And you want to introduce yourself?
Wilford Perelman. I'm an environmental major, looking to do something environment. Provide a good resource for knowledge and startup information.
Are you familiar with the Stroud Research Center in Southern County? Stroud? There's an interesting technology project coming out of there, like Internet of Things, sensors that you can throw in the soil and that communicate back to the network.
I don't know.
How you doing? Good. Thanks for coming.
Chris, can
ETA?
I do a plug for energy?
Sure.
Just change it.
Waste oil recyclers.
Name first.
Mary Fisher, Wellness Street Labs.
Let's change that.
There's Energy Independence Day down in Modena. They've dubbed it Milk Arena. Waste Oil Recyclers puts it on May 17th, 1 to 6. Food, music, fun, free. It's really an awesome event that they're putting on. Waste Oil Recyclers is one of our clients that they take all the restaurant oil, the waste oil, and convert it into fuel. So really amazing company out in Modena. May 17th, Energy Independence Day.
I think they were the SCORE National Environmental Company of the Year. So they've been working with SCORE for 7 years. So they're really cool. And shaking things up in Marina. Quick thank you to our sponsors, and then we should be ready to go. Fox Rothschild, Terry's in the back. Thank you to them for having our back. Igniter TV, Sean Dominski, doing live streaming across the world, the universe. If you check out our YouTube channel, we have all of these almost full content. And I just came across a service that does transcriptions for like dirt cheap, and I'm thinking about going back and transcribing every single presentation. I2N is a spin-off of the CCEDC, and that's kind of a virtual accelerator that you should learn about. They help deliver help us achieve KIZ status, Keystone Innovation Zone status. And Brennan's hooked us up with some cool furniture, like stand-up desks. You should all give it a try. And the Hankin Group, they run a wet lab co-working space in Exton. So, drum roll. This is Indigo Lay, Ted Man, judging sponsors. Tomorrow night is Unisys. It's kind of a closed event because people are working on the project, so we have at 7:30 down here, we're going to have a presentation on design thinking from the folks at Westtown School. That's open to the public. At 8:30, we're going to have someone from Unisys talk about cybersecurity. There will be a ton of Unisys engineers. If you're looking for a job or want to learn more about Unisys, it's a good time to come. Those periods of time will be just general rumpus room kind of things. And any questions? Danny, why don't you come up and let Ben give you that? Or do you need to be back there?
I don't need it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll try to get it going.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not. It's not.
That's awesome.
It's not necessary.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you guys for having me.
So Danny is from BioBots, and you just got back from New York.
I came in this morning. Yeah.
How was it?
It was awesome. It was fun. So yesterday. Let's see. So we were at TechCrunch Disrupt. I don't know if you guys have seen like Silicon Valley. We were at that thing. I pitched yesterday. We were the very first company up because we had like a really elaborate demo, and it took a while to set it up. And yeah, I mean, we were there. It was like had an awesome pitch. I think went really well. Created a lot of buzz. Then like we're at the event all day, just like talking to people, networking, showing off the device. Then at night there was like a VIP dinner that we got invited to, and it was like our team and like a bunch of VCs or like other startups. It was really snazzy and awesome, and we were all like in t-shirts. It was it was great. And then after that there was they like hooked us up, like linked up the dinner to this like sweet after party, and like it was just like madness. So there was open bar from 6 in the afternoon to 2 in the morning. So it's been a struggle.
You can be honest.
Yeah, I got a few hours on the bus, so I'm good.
Okay. All right, so the format here is to share your story, talk about that amazing machine.
Oh,
then
cool,
we'll
Rob.
do Q&A, and we'll try to adhere to the time. But if you have to leave and we go over, feel free to kind of get up and go if you have to. But I'm really excited. This is a Philly-based company. You guys are pretty new, and we're excited to hear your story. I am. So I'll be
Cool.
back for Q&A.
Thank you. Yeah, so again, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm not I have a pitch lined up for TechCrunch, but you guys can just watch it online if you really care enough. So I think what I want to do is just walk you guys through how we started up and the story behind BioBots. So just quickly, BioBots is it's a life science company, it's a biotechnology company. I don't know, it falls somewhere between hardware, software, and what we're calling wetware or liveware. And we build the bioprinters and bioink, so devices that build 3-dimensional living tissues. So how did this start? I was a student. First, I started going to school in Miami. I went to community college out there for 2 years. I was started off studying math, and someone got into physics, and then switched over to biology. Did drug discovery research at the University of Miami for a while, and through this program that hooked up community college kids to do research. Because there's not you can't do that in community college. They don't have research labs, and it was something I was interested in, so it was awesome. That program it's been running for a bunch of years now, and there was a student, there was a guy who was also a Miami community college kid 2 years before me, so he had just finished, he had just graduated, and he actually transferred to Penn. And we didn't know each other, but just dropping that in there so all the dots should connect later on. Anyway, then after I finished at Penn, after I finished in Miami, I transferred to Penn, community college 2-year thing, transferred to Penn to study computer science and biology. Did a lot of awesome research in genetic engineering and building computational tools for analyzing genomes. And the general what I was doing, the things that were exciting me were things that allowed building tools to engineer life. So figuring out what are the devices, the methods that we can use to engineer living systems and do that in a logical way, the way that engineers build, you can easily build a chair, the laws of physics, but it's a lot harder with biology just because we don't know all the laws. So building the tools to understand creating infrastructure behind that. Anyway, when I got there on a project that I was working with, I had a mentor, a really great guy. His name is Jordan Miller. He was you guys might know him, I guess. He was a postdoc at Penn, and he also had another student working with him. His name was Ricardo. Turned out it was that same kid who had transferred from Miami. And so we linked up through him. And we just, we just sort of kept each other up to date with things that we were working on, sort of working on somehow connected things. He was working more on tissue engineering, so building 3D blood vessels and basically 3-dimensional living tissues without a bioprinter, just with other methods, other fabrication methods. So he graduated after 3 years of being at Penn. So I was a senior when he had been out of school for a year, and he was working on this device in his dorm room that basically shrunk down all of not quite like that, a little bit bigger. It was a 3-axis system. This device that was moving 3 dimensions. Looked a lot like a regular 3D printer. But the key was that we wanted to use it to extrude living materials. So mixtures of biocompatible collagens and biocompatible polymers, basically, and living cells mixed together. Use that to control geometry of life, living tissues. So he had this device. I was a senior. He wanted to do this thing called convention. It was a competition at Penn, and only undergrads. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Only undergrads could participate, or it was only students could participate, so he wasn't a student anymore, and he wanted to take this device through this innovation competition. And so he, knowing that I was probably the only person who was going to be willing to do it, he gave me a call and was like, hey, I've got do you want to do this thing with me? All you have to do is submit it, and if we win, there was he told me it was $20,000, ended up being $5,000. He's like, if we win, you can get like 10% of it. You don't have to do any work. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, well, why not? So as soon as he like sent me over like the slides, and they were like awful. So I knew that in order to win, I was gonna actually like have to do some work. And so I did. I mean, I got really into it. I loved it. I was like, we'd spend like I feel like at that time it was just like Sundays. Like Saturdays were like my party day, and then Sunday was like, okay, we'll like wake up in the afternoon and work on this like bioprinter thing. And there wasn't any software for it. There was like a lot of awesome times where like there wasn't the hardware still. We were still figuring out the hardware. We wanted like at the time we were driving the device with these like motors to push the syringes, like the plungers on these syringes down. And I was like, oh, we need to go with hydraulic. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah. And we like rented we didn't have a zip car. We did like our cars were coming and we couldn't rent a car for whatever reason. So we bought a U-Haul truck and I started driving around the city looking for paintball tanks so we could like do this hydraulic-based pressure system. I mean, it ended up not working. It was a fail, but we did switch to hydraulic with like an air compressor later on. But anyway, yeah. So at that time I was like working on the software for the device. It was sort of like a hacky thing. It was like it was like sort of like my geek project for some days. And fast forward a little bit. We went through this competition, ended up winning. It was tons of fun. We got the $5,000. Then what else was happening? Yeah, so I was going to go get a PhD in bioengineering, and Ricardo, that's other founder, he was going to go to med school, and like that's sort of like like the trajectory. Like med school is like a thing that you have to like be on a trajectory for a long time, and so he was like set like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to med school. He's been like working on that for like 5 years. But we had this like I had just graduated. We had a summer period, like his lease didn't expire until the end of like the fall, and he didn't start school until the fall, and I didn't start school until like the fall. So we had $5,000. So we were debating, should we like go travel to Southeast Asia, or should we like stay in Philly this summer and try to build this thing up? And we decided to stay. And he was living on top of a bar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Penn campus area, but New Deck Tavern, like next to White Dog on Sanson Street. He was living on top of that. And sorry? The Doyles. Yeah. And so in that summertime, we like pushed all of this furniture off to the side of the room. We bought 3 IKEA desks and we set up shop. We like got some like a friend of mine to come intern for us. Basically, he was like mixing stuff up and cleaning like these dishes. We were trying to figure out chemistry. Like we were trying to figure out what do we actually put in these devices to not kill like the cells, burn them out. There were like a lot of problems. But we didn't have like a lab, and we couldn't go to Penn because Penn would like have claims over our IP. So it was like a pretty like weird situation to navigate through. But my other friend was an undergraduate student. I don't know if you know. But anyway, and he would like take things from the lab. So that was like yeah. So we got this thing to work with lights, and basically like the way it works is you have a solution of 3 things, just like super simplified. You have a polymer. Well, first let's say you have this like chemical that's an initiator, and then when you shine light on it, it creates this like, electrically charged particle that then attacks this like bigger polymer that when that attack happens, the thing cross-links. And imagine that there's the third component of that is cells, and you can do this whole thing without killing the cells. That's super oversimplified and like not super clear, so I can like go into deeper later. And then we figured that thing out in the dorm room. It took us like I don't know, like a few weeks. I don't know how we were able to figure out. Typically, we just like read a lot of papers, and I guess we were sort of familiar with this space. And that was like the big breakthrough. That was like the part that nobody had ever done before, and we got really excited about. So we didn't have any AP or anything like that. We filed a provisional patent on that. We like wrote it, and like I was like a 1-pager. It was silly. Like we took it to an IP lawyer after, and they were like, "What is this?" And yeah, what happened after that? Then we had this thing working, so I blasted out like everybody that I knew. I had just been interviewing for like the PhD programs, and so I was like completely hopping around from like state to state, like all the schools. And so I blasted out all the people that I had interviewed with. I blasted out to like all the engineering departments of all the schools that I applied to. And I was like, hey, I've got this awesome thing. Like we had like a little video that was super janky, and people got it. Like people were like, oh, this is really interesting. Like this is awesome. Like I'll like see if I can get students excited about it or whatever. And like it was hard with the people who were far away, but the people at Penn that we knew, like they were able to move around, like move a lot quicker. So this professor, a new professor at Penn, who was over at the Weiss building like miniature. He's the guy who built the like lung on a chip. I don't know if you guys are familiar. So it's like a miniature lung built out of human cells. And he had just moved to Penn and wanted to build a stomach. And we like convinced him that this is the best way to do it. So he recruited a student, and the student, brought the student through the bar, got him a drink, took him upstairs, sat him down, showed him the device, he loved it, and then like 2 weeks later, we sold him the first device to that professor. So this was still like, put it into perspective, this is like a month after we started working on it. So it was amazing. We like had the device in there. The student is graduating now in May with his master's, which is sweet, and like the whole thesis is around using our device. So then we were like super excited. We were like, okay, well, cool. We sold something. We can like, this is like, we can do something. We have a business or whatever. Ricardo was like a lot. I was like way ready. I was like super ready to say like, okay, like, fuck the PhD. Like I don't want to do that. But Ricardo was like, you know, he's like med school is like a thing. You can't like just say no. I've been working on it for 5 years. So he was like, okay, yeah, if you can get us some cash, then I'll like say no to med school. And so I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So it's like, I started just blasting out emails again. That's like the thing that I do. I either blast out emails or blast out calls. Like I remember, I think in those days I was making like 250 calls a day, just like calling people and like trying to run the idea by them. Got a few professors at Penn again, like the Penn guys have always been super supportive, to walk us through like how fundraising works or like how financing a company works. And they suggested that we go through an accelerator. So we're like, okay, what's an accelerator? So we heard of like YCOM, and we were like, oh yeah, we'll do YCOM. Well, whatever. Like the deadline had passed like a month before, so we applied anyway, and they told us we were late. But there was another program, DreamIt Health, that was running in Philly. And we were like, oh, that'll be good, like as a sweet transition. So we did that. Went through their process. Took them a while. Like a month, and that got us 50K. 50K legal services, office space, free lab space. We were able to like hustle Science Center to like package in like a legit lab for 6 months. I don't know how. What else did we get from that? Like mentors. Yeah, that was useful. A lot of really good mentorship. Yeah, so we moved over to DreamIt. They were like super great. They like walked us through how to think of the business, and we really quickly realized that we couldn't just make a business by selling like devices, and people didn't know what to do with them, and we didn't know if the customer was going to be like science academic researchers or sort of like a small niche market, and nobody was going to get excited about it, and we weren't excited about it. Like our vision for the company was that you could take these devices and like have them all over the world and have doctors and physicians using them to starting off like, as a diagnostic tool to print miniature organs from the patient's own cells and develop drugs, personalized drugs for that patient. That was one thing. There was also like, oh yeah, printing out like skin cartilage for implantation. Eventually we could get, like, we could work up to more complex organs. But even that, like that's sort of like a pipe dream, right? The whole thing was like a pipe dream. And we spent a lot of time figuring out like all the steps to get there. So like, what's a trajectory look like, and how do we make that realistic and put numbers behind everything? So that's what I spent a lot of time on in DreamIt. And Ricardo spent a lot of time with his head down, like building devices, which was great. So he finished the first version. It looks something like that. Yeah. And we started, finished DreamIt in November. We like started building these in November. Finished the first batch in January, and by the end of January we had sold like 25 of them. Just like amazing. It was, I don't even know how it happened. They were all just like academic researchers, a few medical device companies, we had a few clinics in like not unregulated parts of the world buying them, and yeah, we started thinking like as soon as we started shipping them, people started using them, giving us some feedback and sharing all the things that they were doing with it. Really helped us like figure out where the niche was for the materials piece, which was the like really hard piece. Like the hardware is easy compared to the biology that we're doing. And so working with these guys, they all became partners. Like all these customers are like basically now our partners, and they're the best academic researchers in the world for this stuff. Like the best engineers, the best people who actually do this, and they tell us exactly what they're doing. So after that, we realized, okay, cool. Like, we can actually start building like the materials. And we can actually start building inks for these things. Like plastic printers have had those like spools of PLA for a while, and there wasn't anything like that in tissue engineering. There wasn't anything like that in bioprinting. Number one, like nobody had ever had people didn't have bioprinters until, they've been around, but they're like giant machines, cost like $500,000, super hard to use, There's probably like 10 of them in the country, other than like the ones people have hacked up. So suddenly like people started having bioprinters, and we were like, cool, so now people need inks. And we actually just released the ink yesterday. It's the first kit. It looks like, whatever, let's see what it prints. It prints cartilage. It's just like, sort of like I was saying, it's like a mixture of those three things: polymer, initiator, and cells. So we don't actually, researchers have their own cells. And this first kit was really easy for us because we had gotten so much feedback from the customers, because we knew exactly what they were doing. So it didn't cost us too much to make, which is awesome. So like now the plan is to, like the next step in the process for us, and we know we can sell these devices to academics, and we know we can get partnerships with them. But like the next step is really to get into the pharma company so we can learn about this drug development process and start like infusing the drug development process with some innovation. And the value proposition is basically that you can use these devices to build miniature organs out of human cells and test drugs on them. So instead of using flat dishes like flat tissue culture or animals, you can use these devices in early preclinical testing and catch a lot of false positives before they happen, which is great for the pharmaceutical companies that want to save money, but it's also great for us because suddenly you're turning something that people used to do by hand into something that's like basically turns into lines of code. And we can begin to store that and begin to figure out what to do with that data as we generate it. Eventually, like getting a lot of data, and then we can bring it to the clinic, like back to the factory. That's where we're going. So that's like sort of the, I guess, like the quick version.
Yeah, I want to kind of preserve the Q&A because I think that could be helpful to everyone. So that was Jack Kerouac and that was intense. So for Q&A, house rules, name, what you do. We already did that, but we had some new people come in. So you guys do it again, and then your question.
All right. My name is Steve Iannelli. I create and sell small businesses. And back in my distant past, I used to be an engineer. And I have two questions, really. One of them is the materials you're making. What are they actually usable, strong materials? And what is the process itself? Because you're combining a couple of things that don't seem like they should stick together.
Yeah, so the question was, the materials, are they strong?
Yeah, in other words, are they just for testing? In other words, you take the material you've generated, and you test compatibility, or can you actually make something that you could implant on a body and use?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for the implantation piece, it's pretty complicated, and the answer is not straightforward even to that question. The materials things that come out of the printer will never be ready for implantation directly off the printer, because these things have cells inside of them, and the cells need to reorganize. So it's I would need to describe, but basically you've got you squirt the cells out in the geometry that you need, but the cells need to then migrate around and mature. They need to start to lay down their own matrices, start to establish their cell signaling pathways, and that's how you get complex tissues. And so how do you get them to do that correctly? The thing needs to go from like the thing that you printed, and you put it into a bioreactor, which will, the construction of, or like the design of the bioreactor will be dependent on the type of tissue you're making and exactly where, or like what replacement part you're trying to build. So if you're thinking let's say you build a blood vessel, you would need to stimulate that by flowing fluid through that blood vessel at pressures that are relevant for that blood vessel. And say you have like a knee meniscus that you're printing out, you would need to basically grind that knee meniscus like the way that it's normally stimulated in your knee. And so yeah, it's not straightforward.
So you're actually creating, you're printing like a matrix to hold it, and then you put it in the bioreactor and finish it off that way, so to speak.
Yeah, so it's never going to be so instant that you implant. I mean, you're taking, these processes take, probably 15, 20 years in your body to happen, and we're trying to do them in a month. So it's a challenge.
That's fascinating work.
It's a question whether or not it will work. I mean, people have done simple organs like skin, people have done tracheas, it's been bladder work, and there's been bone and stuff like that printed, but really complex organs, it is very much a dream in its infancy, and whether or not bioprinting is going to be the only technology to do that, it's unclear.
I'm really encouraged. I need to do hip.
Anybody else have a question?
So I'm Chris Vasquez, and I do product development.
Cool.
So, I mean, this just sounds so cool, but what is the coolest application that you've had a researcher, what was the coolest project that you've
So there's I go through phases where I like some projects better than others. But right now my favorite project is this project that's happening over at Rutgers, where actually I don't know if I can talk about it.
Probably not. Yeah, you got some
well, anyway, so I'll talk about another one.
Talk about a hypothetical.
Yeah, talk about this a project that. Okay, well, whatever. Let's just like shoot it off anyway. Building like miniature tumors. From
Miniature what?
Tumors. So taking cells from patients, biopsying their tumors, and recreating those tumors on a dish, and then figuring out which therapies kill the tumor and don't kill the healthy cells. So it's a pretty sweet application.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, how much capital is dying to be dumped into your company? Because that's just a huge industry right there. So are you fighting off investment, or are you ready to take it and become a 500-person team?
So we're not ready to go to 500 yet. So I mean, the team has really been just me and Ricardo, and we hired, when we were at DreamIt, there was an intern that was at DreamIt. She was like operations intern, and she like went to DreamIt because she like heard that we were at DreamIt and she wanted to work with us, and she was awesome. So that's the team. It's just 3 of us. And I don't think we can grow to 500 yet. We want to take it one step at a time. But yeah, we are raising money. We're raising $1.5 million to take, like, I mean, this is the version 1, and we wanted to have, like, the version 2 that goes into pharma is a little different than this. This is great for the academics, not so great for pharma. There's a version 2 of that. There's new kits for different tissue types. Cartilage is great for the researchers again. There's some applications in pharma, but it's not like the biggest space. It's not like the thing we're hearing the most from pharma. And then the software piece is huge. Like, we need to build this entire infrastructure to basically like a preclinical drug discovery management system. It doesn't exist. I don't even know that. And then yeah, so that's what we're raising for, and the team is going to grow to around 10. That's going to be the first step. And that's that's sort of the plan for this year. Yeah, I guess like 6-8 months.
Very interesting. Go ahead. Yep.
Barbara Bolton, Pegasus Technologies. Just if we were going to help you spread the word, who are you looking to partner with? Who are you looking to make contact with?
Yeah. I should have said that. So pharma companies, we're looking for people in R&D departments. Really, what we're missing. So we've got like probably the best like tissue engineer guy as our scientific advisor. So I think we're covered on that front. What we need is somebody from pharma to come in like to validate what I'm saying here, right? Like we don't have anybody now that fulfills that role. And it's not because like, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people in pharma and get it, people are excited about it, but like finding somebody to really champion it is what I think would really put a lot of wind in our sails right now.
So, Lars.
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm CEO of Breakfast Pharmaceuticals, which is in Westchester, and I've been in pharma about 35 years. But where I see the application is providing some human-like organs, because we use a tremendous number of animals. We breed animals, and then we torture them basically, and give them a hard life. And some live for several years, but some live just for a few weeks while we're doing experiments on them. It's really horrible.
Yeah.
And so we knock in genes and knock out genes, and you create these animals that look, they have tumors. It's really terrible. So if you could provide humanized organs, in which case you can test drugs on these humanized organs. You don't have to kill anything. You don't have to create anything apart from these organs, and then see how the drugs react in these organs. I think that's a great idea. So you could set up. You see, the problem with if you go to pharma, they're going to want a license to it. Right. So it means you can't. They want an exclusive license because they want to be ahead of. Pfizer want to be ahead of Glaxo, want to be ahead of whoever else there is. And so. Yeah, I think to set up a company which could actually create these organs and just market them, sell. You can buy this organ for $50,000 and it'll run for 6 months or whatever, and put it in the right conditions, and then you can test all your drugs on it. I think that's great.
Yeah, so I mean that's one approach.
Yep.
And there are companies working on stuff like that. Our approach is slightly different. We want to sell the tools.
Yeah.
To allow. I mean, like the problem with what like building our own organs and selling the organs is that like we're gonna have pretty limited bandwidth, and we can't have a giant catalog of different organs for different genotypes and yada yada yada. And that's like the flexibility that this tool offers. Like that's sort of the value proposition with 3D printing in general, is that you can have very different geometries being printed out and very different tissues being printed out, and that they all cost the same. Like that's the value proposition, and that's why we don't think it makes as much sense to do like, hey, we're like an organ factory that we produce these things on bioprinters. We think it makes more sense to say like, here are the tools, researchers, like we're making it super easy for you. All you need to do is mix your cells with these chemicals, and you can design your own organs. And we don't have any, the organs that you develop are yours. That's your edge that you're gonna have on the competition. As far as the tools, it's like, I mean, like you don't get an exclusive license to a PCR machine. You're not gonna get an exclusive license to a BioBot.
Yeah. So really, it's hardware, software, and then probably services around it to go out and consult with companies to figure out how to implement and achieve.
So we want to sell the ink. So it's like a wetware is what we're calling it. It's like your inkjet printer needs cartridges.
Yeah.
You said
David?
Yeah, David Drapko, I'm a present background, but I'm also a teacher in the pricing area. I'm curious.
Cool.
Are you looking at a razor blade type situation for pricing? How'd you come up with the pricing for this? And what are you looking at as the pricing for the pharmaceutical side of the thing?
Yeah, so we come up with the pricing for this by doing experiments. So we started testing different price points and seeing what people would pay. And at some point we realized that we were around the $5,000 price point as like a way to quickly make sales. But we were like, why? And it turns out that $5,000 is the threshold for most institutions, academic institutions, as to what a researcher can buy out of their own like equipment budget without having to get clearance. Right. So that's why we came up with that price point. For pharma, the pharma price point, we're still figuring it out. To be honest, I don't know what it's going to look like yet. We're playing a lot with the numbers, but since we haven't begun selling to them yet, and it's like they're pretty cryptic in their conversations. Yeah, I'll get to that.
What about looking at what value?
Yeah.
Your pharma has.
Yeah. That's where I'm going.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know. I don't have the answer. Right? Like I don't know if it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be 5,000. Let's just say that. But I don't know what the number is going to be yet. And the business model so far, as we've modeled it, is this razor blades model where we do make the margins on the inks. So yeah, I get it. We could probably sell devices for more money, but at the end of the day, that doesn't push. I mean, like we don't envision selling like millions of these. We see selling a few 100,000 maybe, and having people use them, and that's where we'll make the money. But I mean, yeah. So I don't know the answer to the numbers. I mean, you guys are probably right that it should go up.
Quick question I had. Robert Codroff, MetLife. If you need a financial advisor to come in and show you how to price point something, it's something I can offer my services to you. On the other side, it's just a small plug. On the other side, you're here at this level. Okay. Moving forward, where do you see this device growing into or morphing into?
The technology itself or the company?
The BioBots that you have, you're at this level doing this. Do you ever see it producing a live organism?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that going to be with this machine, or is it going to be another?
Okay, yes, So next version of this device, like not all the specs are in, but basically it has more heads, more like temperature control on the heads, on the beds. Like it's more precise. It's more automatic. So like right now, there's a regulator that you tune by hand. That's gone. That's the next version. As far as like real tech to build on top of it, I don't know. We've got a lot of awesome ideas for things that we can be building, but I don't know what we need to build.
Is it capable of, let's say, an MRI report?
Yeah. So that's.
And then creating an exact copy of what the MRI made?
Yeah. It is.
Cool.
All right, let's do one more question, and then we'll shut down, and then you could ask questions. Do you have a question too? Oh wait.
Yeah.
2 more questions.
Okay.
Have you managed, I guess, the manufacturing and assemblies? How much of that do you do yourself, and how much of it is outsourced in terms of?
Yeah, so like that's it. Like usually people think hardware company like that's always a nightmare, and it is a nightmare. But the way we've done it is we've sort of been pretty organic with it. So instead of like assuming, hey, we're gonna sell like 1,000 next year, let's like manufacture 1,000. We've been doing it like month by month, and that's sort of been working for now. But we started off building them in the like dorm room basically. So we were like 3D printing parts and putting them together from off-the-shelf components. Like we were cutting stuff in like little hacker spaces in Philly, and now we moved to NextFab, so we've got like a lot of prototyping tools. We do. The thing that's outsourced right now is the frame. So that white frame is outsourced. Like all the metal is outsourced. So all the electronics and stuff are off the shelf. Like the wires are a huge pain in the ass. We do have to solder them, and there's no we don't have the connector stuff built in yet. That's coming in the next one. Other than that, yeah. So we do all the assembly. That's 100% of the assembly. I think for this particular version, we're always going to do the assembly. We want to do as little of the manufacturing, as little of the soldering as possible. Just like finding people with steady hands is sort of difficult from time to time. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to outsource as much of it as possible. As far as the manufacturing side, we just like get better quality. Like none of us are manufacturing like whiz or like more on the bio side.
All right, Ben. Last question.
So I wanted to give you somewhat of an open-ended question to give you more opportunity to kind of share your experience with us because it was a little shortened. So thanks again for coming out. I had the chance to speak with the BioMeme guys at the Signature event, which was a week or 2 ago, for technically Philly's Philly Tech Week. And I really wanted to know, and I asked them, but I only got a small piece, so I wanted to hear from you. How is your relationship with them? They, exited the incubator there, and they're, seem to be fully functional and operating as a company. So, are you planning on doing any kind of advisement with them, or how is your relationship with them going forward, or anything like that?
So yeah, I mean, BioMeme has been really great. Before, like basically, when we were thinking about starting a company, they were the first. I mean, it was a company that like seemed pretty similar to what we were building. I mean, like not technologically, just like would face a lot of the same challenges. So yeah, they've always been extraordinarily friendly and helpful, and they were part of they just advised us to go through DreamIt and advised us to go to NextFab. So we do take their advice pretty seriously because they're doing really well, and we're excited for their company. As far as like our relationship, I mean. We don't like I don't like geek chat them all the time. So I guess like could be better. But no, yeah. I mean, we're supportive of each other. I think that's like the bottom line. I mean, as I have like questions, they're always like a resource that I can count on pulling on. And yeah, they always like have bandwidth for answering my questions, which is great.
And then can you just define what BioMeme is real quick? What kind of, what are they?
I'll let you do that.
Sure, yeah, so BioMeme builds this really sweet device. It's like a similar value proposition actually. They take a device that normally sits in the lab that does, basically like makes copies of DNA, and you can quantify how many copies of DNA are in solution. It's like a way to measure gene expression, so let's say it that way. It's a way to measure gene expression. And it's usually a device that's like this big, costs like $20,000. They shrunk it down to something that like fits on your smartphone. It's like a sweet little like gizmo, and yeah, you can like walk around. It's awesome. Like you can like sequence or like figure out where genes are around you. Like they have a cool demo where they'll like take the sushi from around where they're eating or whatever, and figure out if it's actually what they say it is. So it's like, oh, is that tuna? Is that salmon? Or is it like some? And it turns out it's usually not.
Small follow-up to BioMeme and your place in NextFab. We're huge proponents of community here. So what's the importance of having a communal environment like makerspace like NextFab for BioBots?
It's totally necessary. Like without stuff like that in the city, it'd be really hard for companies like us to operate. Like, and that's we're able to keep our burn rate low, and we're able to do a lot of things really quickly. As far as community itself, it's super important. I wish there was I mean, there probably is. I mean, there is a good one in Philly, but I always think it could be better. And I mean, that's why I'm here, is also because community. And it's great when like people around you are doing interesting things and you're doing interesting things, and even though they're not the same, you can still cross-pollinate ideas. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for coming. I know it's crazy, but this was kind of mind-blowing. So I'm sure some people will have questions. Thanks for coming. If you come through any of your social channels, feel free to share it, and hopefully see you next week for Ted Mann, also from Philly. Gracias. Who's got tunes? DJ.